Welcome to Perspective Podcast. Josue here. As you guys probably already know, from the Democratic Republic of Congo. I attended the Oral Roberts University. I preach at times, but we typically don't talk about that. It's really early in the morning right now, and we're having a good time, and that's okay. To my left here, we have Mr. Chase Brown. Was born in Texas, attended University of North Texas. He's an aspiring philanthropic creative. It is October 31st. It's cold outside, but he still loves very long walks on the beach, and it is 7:24 a.m. I just wanted to mention that because it is important for
Again.
those of us that are listening. Chase Brown, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, bro.
Yeah.
I am tired like the rest of us, but I will say thank you, Lord, for helping me be disciplined and going to get a workout in this morning. Don't confuse that for making me a morning person. I am not, but I'm just trying to get stuff done before a busy day. But doing well, bro. Going to be having a lot of travel coming up that I'm excited for. Don't know where I'm traveling to yet, but we'll see. So, so it'll be good.
That's always good.
Yeah, how are you, bro?
I'm good. I think I'm cold. I think I'm hot. I'm not sure. Still working through those feelings. Trying to get through that. But
Yeah, you had a good round of confessions this week.
I did. Some might say it was some of my best, but I'm not really into like
I agree.
to compare or anything. I just try to do it for the people.
Oh, of course.
That's it for me. But actually, we have two special guests today. One is a returning guest, a returning offender, some might say. You guys are familiar with his work. You guys are familiar with his takes and his perspective. We have Mr. Chas Smith here with us.
Yeah.
He started singing a lot more, so which has been really good. We've come to really appreciate that. And we also have another special guest here with us.
This
I don't
is
know if
who we're very excited for.
Yeah,
We're
not
excited for you.
the first guy.
But we are excited, but we are very excited for our next
We're
guest.
very excited for our first time guest.
Yeah.
I don't know his last name. I don't think I ever got that part.
Thompson.
Thompson.
Just think of Clay Thompson.
Okay.
You got it.
I'll just think about Clay Thompson, and then we'll be able to go from there.
Perfect.
And that should work. We have Mr. Bryce Thompson here with us in the flesh. He did his hair today, so he has a lot of hair, unlike myself. I think that's a unique feature that we should probably
Whole lot of hair.
In hint. How do we want to do the honors?
He's a Christian Music Connoisseur,
Okay.
DJ extraordinaire,
Okay.
good friend, funny guy.
Yeah.
Some might call him a hooper,
Okay.
but it's good, and we're excited to have him on.
This is good. Yeah. Welcome on the show, my brother. How's it going?
Things are great. Thank you
Yeah.
for welcoming me. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, bro, it's good. So yeah, we only have about 40 minutes. We want to honor your time, so
I want to honor your time too.
just let us know. How's things been in life recently? What's the Lord been walking you through? What's that kind of look like? Because you've had some exciting things come up over the last few months. So what's he been growing you in?
It's been adventurous, but it's also been just a season of harvest, like years and years of doing different things, kind of all coming together, like, getting the final pieces to one puzzle and then moving on to another puzzle. So, yeah, I think if you want me to go into detail, I could do that.
Do it.
We got 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a few aspirations I've always had. One just was within my music adventures to either do production or just be involved with like people that do music in some way, shape, or form when I was younger. But I didn't know what it was until I picked up DJing, which consisted of me like hosting parties with friends and just kind of like creating celebration. My first party that I DJ'd was actually my own, and it was a going away party when I left Cali, and it was like one of the craziest parties. Mind you, I wasn't a believer at that time, so it was crazy for many other reasons. But it got my wheels turning of what I can do, and I was seeing how I could do it in college. So as people know, college was just college. I was colleging. But I really started seeing, like, within my music endeavors and my knack for entrepreneurship, I wanted to just try things as soon as possible. And I had a choice because I couldn't afford school, and I wasn't getting any scholarships because it was because my high school grades wasn't that great.
Yeah.
And I learned that it don't matter how well you do in college, it's your high school grades that get you the scholarship, which was kind of discouraging. I was like, man, I'm gonna take this effort and this money and this time and just put it towards my endeavors. So I stopped going to school. Long story short, dropped out of college, but I found God. That's a whole nother story within itself. Yeah. College dropout. That journey consists of me giving up my dreams and like really surrendering it to God. Because I remember being in a Bible study with one of my friends, shout out Horace Lambert. That guy helped me see Jesus in human form, just how he lived his life, but also what he read and what he based his life off of. But he asked me, he's like, are you willing to give up your dreams to follow Jesus? And I'm like, what do you mean by that?
Can I have both?
Can I have both? He's like, ask the rich young ruler that, ask these guys that was challenged by Jesus and his calling. And it was, again, it wasn't me like just giving up my dreams, being a nomad or monk or whatever, but it was giving it to God and letting him do his thing. So that decision now coming to today has really come back in full circle, seeing God take what I've given up to him and now rearranging it, reworking it so it could be used for his kingdom. So now I am, like you said, a Christian music connoisseur. I'm utilizing music that honors God to bring believers and non-believers together to see more of him and, do my thing.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned the rich young ruler. And for those of you guys that are probably not familiar with his story, he's one of those guys that just, he seemed like he had a lot of things going for him. And Jesus even acknowledged that, said Jesus, he loved them. And then, he asked them to sell all that he had so that he could follow him. And the rich young ruler kind of just walked away sorrowfully. It wasn't his time. And it's interesting because people have used his story to kind of compare it to another rich person in the Bible, Zacchaeus, whom welcomed Jesus into his home. And he, with his heart posture, he's like, anybody that I've offended, anybody that I've whatever, I'm going to, give it all back to them, in a sense, and kind of being able to compare those two people in the dream that they had. And I think it was the other day I heard you like mention how you got into DJing from like your family and things of that nature. Can you get into that a little bit?
Yeah.
Most definitely. It's been cool discovering more about, with your family, you don't hear about all the behind the scenes until you get old enough to get it, get the access. So one thing I do with my mom every time we spend time, they're in California and I'm in Orlando. So when they do get to visit or I visit them, we go on walks. And usually when I go on walks with my mom, she just kind of uncovers everything, as far as our history and what they've done as they've been together. But one thing with my parents, they were able to host rent parties. And back in the day, it was just like, we're going to have people over. They could donate if they want, but we want to just host people in the city and, see what can happen. Because honestly, it wasn't just we want to do this idea. It was like survival type thing. Because my dad, he was an Oakland police officer, did his thing, but I could say this on the mic because they even have a Netflix documentary on how corrupt the Oakland Police Department was. So my dad was caught up in a situation of arresting the wrong person, quote unquote, and they put him under for a second. Suspended him. They didn't put him in jail. But in that time he wasn't getting paid. So my mom, being an entrepreneur, she's always like problem solver. She was like, we can host the rent parties. We know a lot of people, and we have a nice spot that we're staying at a friend's house that could do some cool things. So they had a bunch of music. They had my uncle's sound system. My mom would cook. My dad would prepare the music. My mom was also selecting the music a lot of times. So she was DJing. She just didn't really categorize it as DJing. Yeah. Like I said, they was just trying to meet needs. They were just being hospitable, and they knew music, food, activity, that goes a long way. So they told me they had people from Frankie Beverly and Mays over there, had Rick Barry over there. They had like random people, just celebrities and musicians and all that. It was like the most popping event in the city. And they would do it two times a month, and they did it for 3 years.
Wow.
And this is stuff I never, it's like, Mom, why didn't you tell me this? I'm over here just thinking we randomly have music in the house. Like, but that shaped a lot of my lifestyle. Like, you know, you grow up in certain, you know, when things are normal in your house, you think it's normal everywhere.
Yeah, bro.
So for me, I'm like, yeah, you always have music. Like, where's y'all music at? Like, because we had just crates and crates of vinyls and CDs and everything. And that helped me fall in love with just it helped me build a relationship with music of all genres. And again, I give a lot of credit to my mom. She just really cultivated a lot of my passions. It started with me just selling artwork at my 7th birthday party. She's like, might as well. Like, and then got into the candy hustle, the candy cartel. I was part of the candy cartel in middle school.
Yeah.
I had the Costco plug, you know. So the candy cartel, and then
I'm gonna start using that candy cartel.
yeah, that was it. Because it literally felt they give me the packs. I was, you know, test out the candy, make sure it's good, sell it, have the deals for the return. And I'm shut up. but yeah, it was great. And then along with that came music. I used to make mixtapes and stuff. And yeah, it just all kind of naturally came together. That's what I love. The Bay Area was known for very just talented DJs. So every time I went to school or went to basketball practice, I would listen to these mixes on the radio and like predict like what's the next song, or what song are they going after? What's the style today? All that stuff was just preparing me for when it was my time to start doing it. Again, I was just hooping. I wasn't thinking about anything else. It was that ball is life mentality.
Yeah.
There's no plan B. Like, we're just going to make it to the league. It don't matter what happens. But, you know, to my fortune, God, like, put it on my heart to just think outside the box. Also, he put it in my knee to not work as much. And my back. So, yeah, I had to think about what's next. And, again, that kind of came back to the college thing. But my parents, again, shout out to my mom. She cultivated a lot of those things, helped me think of opportunities and using my gifts. And my dad was always just like super supportive. Even when I stopped going to college, they were like, as long as you have a plan, like, we believe in you, we love you, we support you. And that was huge for me to just jump out the nest.
So. Yeah, bro, that's beautiful. Because I don't think, like, I've seen it from other friends who are doing music, doing DJ, doing some sort of creative expression where their parents were just like, yeah, nah, you on your own if you're doing this.
Yeah.
Nah. Yeah. So to have parents who support you in that is beautiful. So then you went from Cali to Maryland.
Virginia.
Virginia.
Hampton University.
There we go. And now down to Orlando. So what was the move from Maryland to Orlando like to be connected with the whole community down there? And yeah, what was that journey like?
It was just kind of an opportunity. I mean,
because that was what, 6 months or a year ago?
It was a year ago.
A year ago,
literally October last year. But it was around August when. Well, it was that summer when I was already kind of like a free agent in my eyes. I was serving the youth ministry in Maryland, working with a lot of kids. But there was a specific group of kids I was with where I was just kind of like, all right, after they graduate, I'm good. Like, I think I've did what I need to do. These kids' lives have been changed right before my eyes. Like, they're headed off to college, and I'm like, if I commit to another group of kids, I'm going to be here for another 4 years, because that's kind of my heart with serving the youth. Is I'm not just going to pop up and then throw you the deuces once I get my opportunities. But I held off on what I wanted to do to really serve the kids. And really in that time, I was exploring the DMV. If people don't know, DC, Maryland, Virginia, that area. Not the Department of Motor Vehicles, but really explored that area to see, is this going to be where I build, you know, what I have in mind? Because it was already on my heart to start creating a community, create events for young professionals, young like men and women, just to come together and like just hang out, like throw parties and do cool stuff. But again, I was waiting. So after these kids graduated, I was just kind of like exploring. Like, I took the little money I had, every time I got booked, I'll try to get booked outside of the state. So it's like, as long as you cover my travel, my hotel, like, I'll make it work. And so I was getting booked in different areas so I could just peep the scene. So all the areas I had listed, you know, just New York, back in Cali, Texas, Atlanta. Like I went to just different spots to just see like, all right, is this where I can like really plant my ministry? Mind you, I didn't say Orlando or Florida. Like I didn't think about Florida. I kind of allowed the stereotypes of Florida man,
Local Florida man.
Yeah, all the craziness. I was like,
boy.
okay, I guess I'm not supposed to go to Florida. I don't know. But in the midst of me kind of waiting, searching, I was networking with different artists. And mind you, for those who hear networking, it's not, let's work, let's collab, but it's rather just seeing if there's needs for me to meet and understanding what that actually would look like. So I came across a few artists, and one specifically was my bro, Caleb Gordon.
Mm-hmm.
The dog, shout out him.
OCOE.
No, it was cool because at that time, there's so many side stories and side missions, but due to time. But like, I had my real estate license because the pandemic hit, as most, like literally everybody knows.
Mm-hmm.
Pandemic hits, I get a real estate license because I'm like, people still need homes regardless. So I did that for a second, but yeah, my whole brand was like on real estate. So when I hit up Caleb, I was still in like DJ mode, but he thought I was in real estate. So he's like, what do you want to work with me for? I'm in Florida. I don't need a house right now. But again, I approached him on hey, like, I'm here to help, here to support. So he was just building his brand, trying to do things on live. I was on his lives, just like, hey, I got your back, like, blah, blah, blah. And got to the point where he wanted to do shows, and I just kind of was like, yeah, I can help. And he was thinking like on a planning tip, but I made like a Caleb Gordon like greatest hits mix. Sent it to him. He's like, you made that? I was like, yeah. He's like, oh, you can DJ. I was like, yeah. So he was just like, man, like, let's try to plan something. We tried to plan a show. He was excited. If y'all know Caleb, he's just like just go for it. Energetic, visionary, man of action, ask for forgiveness, not permission type guy. So he plans this show in LA, literally trying to plan a tour like right after West Atlanta Flow blows up. Doesn't work at all, fails, crashes and burns. But nobody knows because we just kind of quietly stopped announcing it. We just was like, okay, that didn't happen. But it was cool because he tells me at that moment, he saw like how down I was for whatever. Even if the idea was kind of wild, he saw that I was like with him. And that was because my prayer, even before connecting with him, was like, may I be the armor bearer to the Jonathans. Like, may I be the person like that has the back of somebody with a crazy idea. Because I noticed in culture or just a lot of people, it was like King Saul and his crew. Like they felt like they were lacking. They felt like they didn't have much, so they sat under their tree and just was chilling. There was a lot of, because of pandemic, everybody felt like they had no weapons. They was done.
Yeah.
It was just waiting for the green light again. But meanwhile, we was moving and shaking. So I loved his heart and what he wanted to do. And I saw, even when we first talked, we didn't talk about music. We was talking about scriptures, our testimony. We was talking about the books we was reading, like what we wanted to do for our family, all that stuff. So that gave me a green light for, man, I just want to help however I can. So we did one show together. He was like, come out to Orlando. I copped a ticket, flew out. Did this show, and it was like that movie scene moment, like slow motion, like we were vibing. We had the crowd jumping, and I'm like, yeah, I want to work with this guy more. And that's when I got introduced to everybody there. Realized it wasn't just him. It was a community of artists that were all talented. And then a community of just believers in general that supported Christian music, which was very rare to see teenagers, like fans of these people, like teenagers, adults, parents, everybody is like in there. So I was like, as a DJ, that's perfect because it's hard to play to a crowd that doesn't know the culture of music, of the Christian music. So yeah, man, that was the green light for me. I did that show in August. I made the announcement in September that I'm moving. I moved in October 1st. And it was just a process that was already like, I had no strings attached to Maryland. I had no money, but I knew a few people that I could stay with in Orlando. And I just picked up, moved, and it worked out. It was history after that.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't even know this. I got into DJing a little bit as well.
Oh, snap.
DJ Butterman? What?
Yeah.
Sorry. So my DJing stories, back in my youth, I used to be on LimeWire.
Hey, the LimeWire days.
LimeWire. I was burning CDs.
That was me
for
too.
myself, and I started burning stuff on my MP3. I had the big little what do you call it? Headphones.
Yeah, we need this picture to resurface.
Huh?
We need a picture of that.
Well, I wasn't really an actual DJ. I was just
We'll find your
burning
MySpace.
CDs.
We'll find your
Nah,
MySpace.
that's where it started for me. I
And
didn't
then-
mention LimeWire, but that.
They don't know about that. They're too
Yeah,
young.
that's
for
why
that.
I was like, all right.
Yeah, and then I'll go to. I remember I DJ'd my first wedding. It was nothing official. They're like, "Hey, you know I DJ?" I'm like, "No." They're like, "Okay, just play songs." I'm okay. So
Wait. So at Jake's wedding 3 months ago, you didn't let me know that you've DJ'd at all? You made me be DJ and you be MC?
well, here's the reason.
You could have
why.
been both.
Here's the reason why, right?
You got the personality. You got the skills.
So I was the MC and the DJ.
Yeah, that's usually what happens.
And that thing is stressful.
It is.
Being a DJ, because it's like everybody's expecting you to play good music, and it doesn't help if somebody gives you a playlist that's like you're not too familiar with.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So my question, that's why I brought the story. I'm not actually a real
Nah,
DJ.
you're good.
I
You
just
are though.
press play, whenever the opportunity presented itself. Like how do you get, I guess it does come from like your family background and your curiosity with music and wanting to explore all of that. But I guess in terms of like doing shows and being comfortable being in front of people, because that's not something that everybody can do.
True.
Like you hosting yesterday, that's not something everybody can do. So how did you kind of develop, being comfortable in front of people and playing music and being like, okay, they're gonna like this instead of, I don't know, reacting to what people want. It's like you're directing in a sense.
I remember one of the youth ministers I work with. He was challenging me on just how I study the Bible with kids, and trust me, it'll connect. But he's like, man, did you even hear the question? No, but yeah, he was like, sometimes with the gospel, like the content might be challenging, or it might be something they're not used to, but it's how you present it. You're the one that presents whatever that is in a way that's appealing. So he was like telling me that, but then he hit me with a quick like, same thing with your DJ, man. You can play any song you want. If you present it right, they're gonna rock with you. Cause it's not really the music, it's just the moment. And I was just like, hold on, bro, with that deep quote. Like, and he walks away, like not realizing he's changing my life. So shout out Jeff Throne, the homie.
Shout out.
I know, right? He's the bomb. But yeah, that was the thing for me. I realized it's less of the music, more of the presenter, and more of what you're trying to do with the music. Music is more of a utility. Like, you have to be able to, and I tell a lot of artists that, you have to be able to know where that song needs to be played and what to do with it. Like, if y'all saw at the Justice Run, shout out Axel Creatives, and everybody at Mercy Culture, that was fun. Just there, I knew that there was going to be a lot of music that people didn't know. So I had to show them, what to do with the song. Show them how to dance to certain songs, and that happens in a lot of spaces. People, you'll be surprised how many people just don't know how to party, especially in the Christian space, because we don't party often. Right. So like you'll have people with like kind of like just rigid legs, or they might be nervous because their only recollection.
Why are you pointing me out like that?
Nah, I didn't say. I wasn't saying nobody. yeah, but something like that. I was trying to think of it like rusty legs. But
the first thing you said was great.
Rigid works, yeah. But even some people who are like their only recollection of partying was in the world, or just doing reckless behavior. So it's like, man, they don't even know how to party because they're sober. They're like, man, I don't even remember what I did. So it's like, for me, I had to recognize, okay, I'm gonna show these people what they can do, because I've been blessed with a lot of experience. It's almost like I'm a Zumba instructor or something sometimes. but yeah, I learned the dynamics of a party growing up. Like, I used to go to parties. It was kind of out of survival, which is crazy. I'm from the Bay Area, Oakland. Vallejo to be exact. Vallejo, California. 707, if you see on Instagram. 707 is the area code of where I'm from. The G is my middle name, but also stands for Groove. So, Bryce Groove. So that was, being in the Bay Area, you have to know when and where to go for parties. Probably, are you from LA?
No,
You just like wearing Crenshaw?
I do.
You did say Congo.
It's one of our friends who he has a nonprofit out there that we've gone out and partnered with. We had him on the podcast.
I know, man. You gotta be careful.
Yeah. I wore it to church one day. Someone was like, "Oh, you're from Crenshaw." It was an older white gentleman. I was like, "No,
No.
Sorry to disappoint.
Yeah, it was not a good conversation." I'm like, "No."
Well, long story short,
What hood are you from?
exactly.
Where you from, homie?
Talk about your set, my friend. Man, but I'll tell you, just being in the Bay Area, it was party culture, but it was you have to watch how you move. So for me, I knew like where to go, when to go. If so and so's there, be careful. If so and so's there, the party's gonna be lit. If this song plays, the party's gonna go crazy. Mm-hmm. If this song plays, the party's gonna go crazy in a bad way. So that intrigued me, like going to like seeing almost like crowd dynamics. It was like my little crash course of crowd dynamics in high school. I wasn't even thinking about it because I was just like, man, it's wild how like if certain people, certain elements, certain ingredients is put into a party, it can go certain directions. Mm-hmm. So I was already thinking about that. Then when I got to college, I got to see that even on a grander scale because it's just different people from all over the world. Because I was just Bay Area culture. We was just lit regardless. You can play anything in the Bay Area. They'll turn up. Like, they'll get crazy and have fun, you know? But even then, that depends on who's picking the music. But, like, college, you had all these different types of music. You had people from, the South, from over the, overseas. You had people from all over the place. So that just, again, was teaching me, like, what music does for people, but also what the environment has to be for them to really, like, enjoy themselves. So me, I embody all that. Now, mind you, weddings, and that's why I'm like, don't give up, because weddings even, it stressed me out. Weddings are stressful. It's like very, very small window for error. And also people want what they want.
Yeah.
There's not as much creative freedom, which is why within my 7 years of DJing, well, 9, but going into like this year, I was like, I'm done with doing weddings. Not taking wedding inquiries, not taking reception inquiries. I'm not taking none of that because it just doesn't give me room to do what I do. We'll see. I'm gonna give it another year of just really locking in on the entertainment side and just doing shows and concerts and parties. But I'm like, the way my style works, like me rocking my apron and just kind of being just like, actually, it does well at weddings. It's just, people have family. That's the hardest part. You have family who don't know who the DJ is, and they kind of like, what the heck? Who's this weirdo messing up our wedding? Like, and some. Yeah, exactly. Or you have the pops who funded the wedding, and they don't care what the kids like, but they're like, get this dude out of here. So, I've kind of put that aside because I know within other environments, it just kind of fits more of my style. I'm not as posh or dressy. I'm just kind of casual friend that's creating moments with other friends.
Yeah. In those like like in those moments, like when you are DJing, whether it be a wedding, I just heard you mention an apron. I think you should probably explain that a little bit.
Definitely.
But whether you are DJing a wedding or an event or a concert or whatever, what's going on through your head? What are you doing? Are you just pressing play and just smiling, bobbing your head, or are you dancing with the people? What kind of, I guess, vibe are you giving
the
off in those
vibe,
moments?
like I said, is showing them how to have a good time. A lot of people just need a visual representation of what fun looks like. Or I learned this actually. I was leading worship at my church. And it's crazy. I am thinking about it now as I'm talking to y'all, how much it's interwoven with just my life in the ministry and doing different things like that. I actually led worship, and I realized like sometimes people need an example on stage, like how to worship and how to have a good time. And another part of DJing, and this is to my DJs, my Christian DJs specifically, that are like, oh yeah, we play what we want. We just play the clean version. We have to realize we're worship leaders, and it's a challenge. I don't like twisting people's arms on their decision, but it's like you're literally compelling people to like sing, whatever is playing from those speakers, or you're compelling them to dance or move and interact. Music is very powerful. So with me, I'm giving them visual representation of what to do. This is a great occasion. Let's smile, let's dance, let's move. If they don't see that, they're gonna kind of go to their I guess their limitations. But if I'm on stage moving and grooving, and I see somebody else doing like a slight movement in their hip, I'm gonna point them out, be like, yeah, come on, get them hyped.
Yeah.
That's why I love events with kids, because kids are like, they don't care about nobody. They break dancing, they spin around. I saw some kid tumble in the mud 2 days ago. No, they didn't care about none of that. I was like, we gotta be childlike, So yeah, that's what keeps me, intentional with everything I do. Just making sure people can see what they would want, and then encourage them that they could do that as well.
Yeah, bro. And it's really cool. This isn't going to be too deep of like a realization, but it was still something like that I want to share. It was maybe like 5 years ago, but I was in the middle of worship, and just like the beat of the worship song just like really hit me for some reason. It was the first time that ever happened. And basically I had this thought go through my mind of like, dang, like the beat of the music is the heartbeat of the church. And how our heart, we often think it is reacting to what's going on in the body, but that's what's leading. Because if the heart isn't going to be pumping up enough blood, like you ain't going to be able to move very fast at all.
Facts.
And so also we'll say right now, Josue had to head out. He got to go to work. So
He's
shout
a
out to
working
him.
man.
Yeah. But so
We'll be replacing him.
Chaz will be here.
Chaz is here.
From that, something I want to give you the opportunity to talk about was, we talked about DJing. You just released something within the last week or two that's related to music, but I think is super, super cool because you're not sticking yourself in only one lane.
Yes.
And you're making a natural addition to like what you're doing in life, like similar to what Chaz is doing with this long form content.
Yes.
So talk to us a little bit about that, the story behind it, and what it is.
Cool. Yeah, I was listening to this podcast a few days ago. It wasn't y'all podcast, but it should have been. But it was just something from a guy named Seth Godin, and it kind of explains it well. Like, we should be in a place where our life doesn't have like job descriptions, or you can't categorize it. Especially if with your endeavors, like they shouldn't be able to like just say, oh, you're this, you're that. And for me, I've recognized that that's definitely where I'm at. It's like people explain what I do. Like DJ is almost like the front. Like it's kind of the introduction to me. Like, oh, he's a fun guy that likes music. But as you talk to me, hang out with me, you realize there's more to it. And me, I love to solve problems. I love, just being able to find solutions in whatever situation arises. So recently, as I've been blessed and privileged to be in the entertainment industry a lot more, specifically the Christian entertainment industry, I've been able to meet a lot of artists, musicians, just different people, different creatives. And one thing I was just noticing a pattern was that there'd just be some of them like just misplaced. Like they felt like they wasn't really accepted in their church or their community because some people are still getting warm to music or rap specifically. Or you'll just meet some people who, want to grow more in their faith, but because everybody is so intrigued by their musical talents, they almost like ignore their knack for, or their desire to grow in their faith, which sounds so weird, but it's something about, again, music and entertainment. Like people just overlook the person sometimes, or they miss all the points. So I was recognizing that and wanting to meet a need in the creative space where, man, they need discipling, they need direction, they need encouragement. And, I was able to kind of talk to enough people to realize, like, yeah, there's nothing really out there. And even myself, I was looking up, trying to research, like, are there books for Christian creatives, for people that want to build up the kingdom and use their talents? And I wasn't finding much. I really had to dig. So I was just like, let me start this. Let me see what happens. It's actually not as hard as it looks. So I was, just started putting it together and created the Kingdom Dreamers Devotional. It's a devotional book, 10 pages, super simple. Because I was also thinking as an artist, when I did found creative books, it was like words, like hundreds and hundreds. I was like, bro, I need pictures. I need it to be short or I need a bunch of pictures. Yeah. So I was like, let me keep this one short and sweet. So it shares my life a little bit with scriptures like that are truths that we have to remember as creatives, and also questions to reflect on as you build your dream, your mission, and all that stuff. So
yeah, bro, it's dope. You have anything you want to ask, bro?
Yes. Couple things that came to mind earlier as you were talking. I'm chewing on a cough drop type thing because it tastes good.
Cough drop type beat.
One thing, I'm trying to remember what the second one was, but one thing, no, two. I do remember both. I thought it was really cool when you were sharing your story about how just when your parents used to host rant parties, you said your mom would cook, your dad would be doing the music, and now you're kind of doing both, like even with the whole apron theme too. Is that intentional?
Yeah. The apron. Mm-hmm. So the apron ties into a few things. When I worked at Waffle House, I used to wear an apron. I clocked in, I threw on an apron, and I would serve. I'll be a waiter. Fast forward to now, I was thinking branding, just on some nerdy branding. What's a good way to brand? Because people's mental real estate isn't that big. And so you need something to say, oh, who's Bryce? Oh, the one with the apron? You're going to know it's Bryce because nobody else is wearing an apron. So the apron came about because branding, I was researching like, all right, what do I represent? Hospitality. That's kind of my thing. I love hosting people. That's where I recognize my parents and what they're good at, hospitality, hosting. So I kept that in the forefront of my speech, like hospitality. You hear me talk about hospitality a lot. And I started researching, like, again, with fashion or what is something that can represent hospitality. I just literally Googled what is a symbol of hospitality, and an apron pops up. And I'm like, all right, bet I could rock an apron because one is like super useful. Like you got the pockets in the front, all that stuff. But also it sticks out. And I think fashion-wise, like, you have to start with something different. And I was like, there's nobody really like swagging out an apron. So I was like, let me just own this, wear it, see what happens. And the first event I wore it, so successful because literally the main thing everybody would think and say was, why does he have an apron on? And then I could start talking about my brand. So it was a perfect like eye catcher, but also just it provoked people to just ask. So it's been like, I think for the past I started wearing it back in August. So I would say that's been the power move for me recently was the apron.
Are you planning on increasing your apron wardrobe with different colors and matching shoes and hats and stuff like that?
Yes. Shout out to my boy Stephen Leap for God's Kingdom. He's gonna be designing some aprons for me and having some matching like gear to go with it. It's gonna be something that will be sold like merchandise. There'll be more people, joining the tastemaker community, and rocking the aprons, which that's the other thing. Tastemakers is the kind of group that I've developed within my followers and fans. So it's kind of works. It all just kind of comes. That's why I talk about harvest in the beginning. Like everything's just kind of coming together from my stories, my mission, my ideas, just all that's coming together now. And I'm just loving it. It's great.
Yeah, that's what's up, man.
Yeah, bro. Did you have something else?
Yeah.
Go ahead, bro.
Second question. Just hearing your story, I think this will be an encouragement to people to hear, like, hear you share more on this concept. But it really, like, what people see up front or just on our social media or whatever, whenever somebody's doing something really well with excellence, they don't see all the years of not just work, but just development that takes place leading up to that point. Like, you shared a bunch of stories where you were learning things that you didn't even know you would need to know for what you're doing now.
Yeah.
You want to share any encouragement to people who are just feeling like whatever they're doing is taking a lot of time or
most definitely
anything like that?
This is something I tell a lot of people. It's like, because people I like my food analogies. I like food. So even if you don't like ribs, people can know and agree that ribs are good if they're cooked well. Or any type of food, I would say.
You eat pork? No.
Yeah, pork, brother, what's going on? That's exactly what I was thinking. All right, let's just say a nice little stew. Let's just say stew for all the generic audience of people that, have their preferences. Let's just say stew. If you just took all the ingredients of stew and threw it in the microwave and just was like, man, this is going to be fire. Like, man, it's going to get done quick. We got all the right ingredients. We're going to put it in there. It's going to be fire. 9 times out of 10, that stew's gonna be trash. Man, it's just not gonna hit. It's gonna be hot, but it's not gonna be savory. It's not it.
Gonna be mushy.
Mushy, man, all that stuff. And most food, you could say that. Put those same ingredients in a crock pot. Let it sit.
Raindrop. Drop top.
Crock pot.
Cooking up a stew in a crock pot.
Oh goodness.
Let that one sit. Let it sit overnight. Come back to it. You're gonna smell it. It's gonna have this aroma that fills up the room. It's gonna be fire. Again, it's with most food, slow cook is always just the best way to go. Now, replace that food with just you and your life and the ingredients of your life, the stories, the experiences. If you try to rush through everything, you're gonna miss out. One, you're gonna miss out on like the experience. It's just gonna fly by. But yeah, I would say my phrase is success tastes better slow cook.
I like that.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Dang, bro. And it's super cool because I think there's a few passages in the Word that talk about this general theme of being willing to be a fool so that we can develop and grow to eventually become, for lack of a better term, an expert in something.
Yeah.
Like Acts talks about it a good amount in like Acts 5, where Paul was basically called a fool. The apostles were called a fool. 2 Corinthians talks about it some too. But in it, yeah, I think I've said this to you like once while you were here, but it's something that still is just a theme that keeps bringing up more and more and more is growing and trusting in God's ability to have grace for our mistakes, that more so than trusting in our ability to not make mistakes.
Facts.
And in trusting in that, God, we understand more and we embrace more that God gives us room to make mistakes so that we can grow and develop, use the term sanctify, so that we can be more and more Christ-like as the day goes on.
Yes,
not just in our character, but in our skills too. Because I'm sure that Jesus was a pretty crazy woodsman or like carpenter and stuff like that. So in it, that's something that I don't think very many people like to embrace now, especially with a little bit more of like a public social media culture to where we only want to put out our successes and the things that go well.
Yeah.
And so embracing the slow cookedness is beautiful, bro. I know we only have a few minutes left. So the last thing I want to give you the opportunity to share about is your boy just got in a relationship.
Yeah.
And so
We
shout
go
out,
public with it now.
Yeah. Talk about it.
and so shout out to her. The one specific thing I want to ask you is in the few months like that y'all been together, what is the thing that you've learned in balancing pursuing a relationship with Amani and pursuing these dreams that the Lord has given you? What does it look like to balance that, have pace with both of those,
Great
honor
question.
both those, all that?
Yeah, man. Shout out Amani Gillespie. Love you, girl. Yeah, you gotta give you a shout out. Yeah. The balance. It's more of interweaving everything. It's being able to, because I think for some reason when I hear balance, it's like you separate the two.
Yes,
You feel me?
like segmentation, 50-50.
Yeah. And it's kind of like, oh, I'm gonna put you over here, and then I'm gonna put this over here. But it's realizing like, all right, like for my whole life, it's always like, how can I integrate? That's been always my goal. Can my work, my lifestyle, who I am, my hobbies, can all that integrate? So I've already been on that like mindset, but to build this relationship, the main thing that's coming across my mind is how can it integrate? Like for what she likes to do, she's a poet, she's a speaker, she's very organized. She has a lot of talents that I can support and build up and like cultivate with her, but she also has talents and a heart to help me do what I'm doing. So the big word, which most people should know about, I'm not going to assume they know, but it's communication. You got to communicate. You got to recognize. We got to listen, to each other's heart, their desires, all that stuff, and just be able to not just because communicate. People just think it's like, oh, let's talk to each other, and once we say it, that's it. But it's like, take those words, digest it, write it on paper, think through like the follow up, what it's gonna look like. I think that's the huge thing for me is like now that we're in a relationship, now that I'm considering and anticipating her needs, I'm dreaming for her and considering her dreams just as much as mine. Like it's really embodying Philippians 2, like to a whole nother level. Like considering others more important than myself. Like what she's gonna do is gonna be far beyond what I could do because I'm gonna build her up. She's gonna be doing her thing. So I think that's the essential part is when you have that selfless, like, you know, servitude to, you know, a significant other, all the S's, it just becomes fun because that's what I've been praying about. That's what we pray about. And it's already just off to a good start. So
Good, bro. I'm proud of that. Any last words for Bryce, bro? Encouragements, anything like that?
Love you, man. Keep it up, bro.
Oh, thanks. Man.
Consistency is like really awesome to see. Hard work. It's paying off, and it's going to continue to.
thanks, man.
Yeah, bro. And it's been really, really cool to get to know you over the last almost year and a half now, man. Like meeting you at Holy Smoke and then the retreat in April.
Yeah.
Like all y'all Orlando boys being able to join.
Yes.
Y'all made it a party. We needed it
Had
that
to.
way. It was really good. And yeah, bro, I'm just super grateful for you. Like I told you, like I went to the Axel meeting back in May.
Yeah.
And really, like the Lord told me, all right, serve Axel, serve the Justice Run, all of that. But in it, the only thing they really needed help from me from was helping out with y'all too this weekend. But in it, obviously, whenever I was there in May, as we were praying into the artists, like your name came to mind. I was like, hey, if we need a DJ, let me know. I got the guy. And so if the only purpose for me doing the Justice Run was for you to be able to come out here, have that opportunity, meet the community here, grow, all of that, man, it was an honor to be able to have that happen. And just honored to know you as a friend, bro. Excited to see everything that's going to be coming, man. And yeah, I think.
Cry, man?
Nah,
right.
maybe.
You
I've been crying a lot this year,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
just I think this is gonna be an encouragement to continue in this, but continue to highlight and be there for other people, and being selfless in that way, while also pursuing your own health and your dreams that the Lord's given you, and honoring and stewarding what God has given you in those dreams. Because I think sometimes. I know I can tend to go through times of like, all right, I only pursue my own stuff, or I only help people pursue their stuff, but doing it in a harmony and doing it simultaneously, like you're doing right now, is really cool, bro.
For sure. Thank you, man.
Keep it up, bro.
Appreciate y'all.
But yeah, so that'll be a wrap for us today, y'all. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. We'll be linking all of Bryce's information in the description, the devotional, your social media, your Patreon.
Yes, sir.
Everything that we're doing. And then all of our information will be in the description below as well if you want to support us, the podcast, outreaches, everything that we're doing. Chaz, thanks for hopping on early in the morning, bro.
Yeah. Ow.
Bryce, thanks for hopping on, bro.
Yes, sir. For the Lord, for the people. Let's go.
Yeah. Till next time, much love. God bless.
Meow.
Yeah.
Meow.